Ball first and 10 at the 12-yard line of the Seahawks. Sean goes right, has a cutback lane, and he does. He's across the 20, the 25, 30, 35, 40. Here he goes. Are they going to catch him? 40, 35, 30. Touchdown, Seahawks! 12, they're bringing the trophy home. Your Seahawks, Super Bowl 48 champions. Holy catfish! Baldwin's going to throw back to Russell. He's got it! Touchdown! Seahawks! Are you kidding me?
Let's Hawk It Out with your hosts Kevin Porter and Rich Harris.
We are back with an all-new episode of Let's Hawk It Out. Man, 9 months sure did go by so quick. Kevin Porter here, along as always with Rich Harris. It's Let's Hawk It Out. The Seattle Seahawks are back for the 2023-2024 regular NFL season. Rich Harris, it's damn good to see your face, buddy.
Oh man, same with you, Kevin. It's great to be back. And look at us. We got our all new format here. We're going to go ahead and try to do our podcast over video for this season. Give that a shot. So yeah, man, exciting. We only got, 3 or 4 days before the initial game, and only tomorrow for the actual start of the NFL season itself. So can't get more exciting than that. We use the word excitement all the time, but this is the real meaning of excitement right now.
As we record this episode, as you said, dude, the regular season does kick off tomorrow with the Detroit Lions taking on the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Like you mentioned, it's been a couple months since we've been on the air. Obviously, you know, we have our brand new YouTube channel. If you haven't already, go ahead and like this video and subscribe. The more the merrier, as I like to say. But yeah, man, this is a new venture here. Again, presenting a live episode, or a live video episode, I should say. We were just talking off air about how we probably won't go live for some time, but we'll eventually work our way up there.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, Rich, just 3 to 4 days out as we record this, Seattle Seahawks are about ready to kick off kind of where we left off in a sense, besides the playoff loss. We are taking on the Los Angeles Rams in the game 1, week 1. Let's go ahead and let's start a couple months, because again, we're starting a little late this year. We're not necessarily, we didn't do every preseason game or anything like that. We didn't even really cover preseason in any shape, way, or form. I think we just kind of internally we discussed it and how, you know, let's come out swinging that first week. But what were your initial thoughts? You know, going back to the draft and going into preseason, what were your initial thoughts coming in for this year?
Yeah, the first word I think of is the depth that we have. You know, compared to last year, we do have all that depth at all the positions. I really think that they nailed it, John and Pete, with getting the draft picks and the scouts included. We got to give those scouts a lot of credit because those guys are phenomenal. They went out once again and found 9 guys this time, 10 guys last year. It's my understanding they're all still in the building and all on the roster and all still continuing to build together for this young or newer era of our team. We've got a pretty good depth at wide receiver. We've got good depth at the quarterback, 2 returning guys, good depth at running back. The offensive line is getting better and looking better, and the depth is starting to build there as well. Again, the defensive backs, the safeties, there's some depth there. The D-line is still a little questionable. Do we have our signature nose tackle quite yet? I mean, we have Jaron Reed back. Jaron Reed's excited to contribute to this team. It's looking really good. You know, again, we've referred to some of the previous chats that we did or podcasts here before we kind of cut it off there with, you know, the feel that it feels like. It feels like the 2011 to 2013 era starting to come about again, in my opinion. And I'm looking forward to these next few years and where we're going to go. I really am.
Well, it's like you say here, dude. I mean, they're building for a championship. It's exactly
Correct.
what it feels like. It feels like we have momentum from last season going into this season. And again, as we often reference here on Let's Talk It Out, but you know, that original run of the Legion of Boom, you know, back in 10, 12 years ago at this point, which I might want to throw this out there for the viewers. Once you're done watching our podcast, of course, go ahead and travel on over to Seahawks.com. And I believe that they are going to be releasing, if they haven't already, sometime very soon, they're going to be releasing a little bit of a documentary, apparently, on the Super Bowl season, as this is the 10th year since Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson, Richard Sherman, all those dudes went up to New Jersey and laid the smackdown on the Denver Broncos and Peyton Manning and won our very first and only Super Bowl championship, Rich.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's called Season of Boom, and that's going to be coming out there on Seahawks.com. And if you haven't already, while you're there or YouTube, check out The Sound, which is basically the Seahawks version and second year going version of Hard Knocks or whatever they do on ESPN or HBO or whatever. Seattle, the Seahawks are now with their film crew and everything and their production crew, which is, to me, it's phenomenal. My wife and I always look forward to watching each episode. Usually about 30 minutes an episode. They come out about every 2 or 3 weeks or so. Watch The Sound as well. And I'm definitely looking forward to the Season of Boom so we can recap those glory days.
Dude, I'm pretty excited, man. And like you said, it's in its second season, I guess. Yeah, second season of that show, and
yes,
it's really great with today's technology. I mean, and this is just kind of offshoot. We'll get back into the current season, but like I actually went back and watched like some a baseball game from the 1970s, and they had the pre-show before on NBC, and it was like I'm so used to like video packages and all these awesome graphics, and you forget that this is relatively new technology within the last 20 years, 20, 30 years or whatnot. Back in the 70s, it was a different story, that's for sure. But I definitely want to continue on the depth, as you brought up initially there. It feels like you said, we'll just go ahead and kind of go in order here in the list of what's listed on the depth chart on Seahawks.com. But yeah, you start with your wide receiving position, and what they have listed so far is DK Metcalf, as I would imagine as a starting wide receiver. His second is Cody Thompson. So do you have any opinions on Cody Thompson and what you may have seen in the preseason so far with this guy? I mean, hopefully we'll see DK all season, but just in case Cody Thompson comes in, I mean, what are your initial thoughts on this guy?
Cody Thompson looks good. He's got good hands. He runs good routes. I believe he was the one that got a concussion in one of the preseason games. I think the first one. So they had to hold him out the second one, I believe, but he got right back in there. And for the third preseason game, if I remember correctly, and I think that's what helped him make the 53-man roster.
Yeah, I think that is exactly what helped him make that roster, get that roster spot, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he definitely had a little bit of a go there in the preseason, that's for sure.
Well, and I think something that contributed to him making it as well was the Derek Young going to the IR at the first 4 games or so, which is also what helped our buddy Jake Bobo get in there.
Yeah, I see Jake Bobo. He's listed as third on the depth chart under Tyler Lockett. And again, you're gonna have to help me with this one. I need to learn it, Rich. But Jackson Smith,
Njigba.
There it is.
JSN.
What? I mean, we'll just go to jump over to him. I mean, he's our rookie. He's supposed to be our rookie sensation. He's supposed to be like what? He's supposed to be completing our go around here, for our wide receiver core. Is that not right?
He'll be our true wide receiver number 3 right there next to DK and Tyler, and he's going to be the slot guy kind of that we really haven't had, that dynamic guy that runs very, very good routes and pretty much catches anything that's within close proximity to him. In fact, he had wrist surgery here about 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks, and I think it was not even a week after surgery. He had a cast on his arm, a wrist cast, and was out there catching passes at practice again.
That's amazing, dude. I mean,
he just wanted to keep practicing and catching and showing that he could do so.
The resiliency of the rookies, man. I mean, obviously the dude's pretty young, so he's able to bounce back a little bit quicker than what we would on a wrist surgery or anything like that. But I mean, I'm again, I'm a very big optimist. I'm very optimistic about when it comes to, the positivity of what this team can do this year. And again, like you talked about with the rookies that they've added on top of the rookies that we added on last year. I mean, we definitely have a lot to root for here. Obviously, our quarterback going into the season, again, for his second season in a row, we got Geno Smith. With Drew Lock again backing up Geno Smith. Drew Lock again just re-signed over, I believe, was it right at once the offseason began? Like, it seemed like he was a very early re-sign for the Seahawks.
Yeah, they had basically just shown that they really wanted to keep him around, and it makes sense. So you're going to get somebody. I mean, look at Geno; they kept him around when he was backing up Russell. You keep somebody in the system, they're going to continue to get to know that system better, and it's when it's their time to play, you'll see the difference. And I believe we saw the difference this year in the preseason with Drew Lock. He looked really good. His accuracy was good. I don't think he threw any picks. Maybe he threw one at the third preseason, but they gave him a lot of playing time, a lot. And I think he capitalized and did well with it. They wanted to make sure that he had that real time playing time, so just in case he has to jump in. But yeah, I think it was great that they signed him early on. I think they got him for another year or two, maybe. But again, talk about the depth. You don't really have the true depth unless you keep a guy in the building that already knows the system. Otherwise, you're going to bring in another guy that's going to learn. That's going to take some time. That's value in itself. It really is. With Gino's looking mean, lean, and it sounds like he's faster, wants to be mobile more as needed. And boy, they're resting him. So, which is kind of a good thing. I think he's ready to just come out and prove to everybody that he's not going to have a sophomore slump. He doesn't believe in such a thing. I think a lot of us don't. And he is going to be hungry and ready to go after it again and show that he's the same player that he was last year, and probably try to show a lot of improvements as well, which who wouldn't?
What I really like about Geno Smith, man, is that he comes in every single day, or at least, from the comments that you hear from everybody on the team, is that he and Coach Carroll and whatnot, he comes in every single day just humble as fuck and, able to just come in and be like, what do I need to work on in order to be a better quarterback? Like, he's never like resting on his laurels. He's like, okay, I am good, but I can be better. And to have that quality as a person, let alone being just a quarterback, is like, in my opinion, is definitely something that you need to respect. And Geno Smith, again, like you said, he's coming in to prove that he is the real deal. He wants to build off the momentum, even though it's slightly dipped the end of the season. He came out blazing last year, dude. There's no reason not to believe that he's not going to do the exact same thing that he did last year. And it all starts this Sunday, Rich.
Right, exactly. And he's got every reason to prove everybody wrong. Again, if there's any naysayers still out there about him, he's ready to go. We have a third guy that is on the practice squad. It was that, I think his last name's Ellers. He's the lefty fella that played a little bit for us. He's also an undrafted free agent, I believe. He's on the practice squad, but the unique thing about that is I don't know if we even need to keep him on the practice squad, or maybe we do, because they have a new rule where you can carry 3 quarterbacks on game day. And if you remember right, that's all because of the San Francisco 49ers fiasco that happened when they all got injured, and it went down to Brock Purdy. But luckily they had a third guy on the sideline, I believe. No, they didn't at that time, though, did they? They had to have a wide receiver or something play quarterback. So the NFL learned from that. And it's my understanding that we should have 3 quarterbacks on the sideline suited up in case a third one's needed, even if he's from the practice squad.
Yeah, we really don't want to see a repeat of what happened in that NFC Championship game last year. I know, obviously, we didn't even get to talk about it because we weren't recording at the time. But that was quite the shit show for the San Francisco 49ers, my friend. It couldn't have happened to a better team, in my opinion, as a Seahawks fan. But with that being said, we definitely do, just in case. You never know what's going to happen. Yeah. And again, I want to say we actually did maybe talk about that a little bit, because I remember the conversation also being about that playoff game that we had during the COVID year when we had the empty stadiums against the Los Angeles Rams and what's his name? The guy that's up in Detroit now. I forget that guy's name off the top of my head.
Jared Goff.
Jared Goff. There it is, buddy. Yeah. When he was injured and they had their backup playing, but then he ended up having to come in because their backup became injured, and then Jared Goff beat us in the playoffs. And it's just
Well, the NFL, at least they're paying attention to the actual league to make improvements as they go, and not just preaching that they will or always looking out, because they're making sense of some of this stuff. I guess if you fair catch, on the same subject of changing rules, I guess if you do a fair catch within the 25, or somewhere, I don't know, within the 25, they'll give it to you at the 25 as well. That's a new one as well this year. Yeah, they're just trying to encourage fair catch and not the people just hitting guys that are just standing there, open target. They're looking at the things that really where guys get hurt the most, and it's when they're left defenseless, or they're trying to focus on the ball, and some guy a split second after he catches it just lays him out with a legal hit. And the guy goes into the concussion tent and doesn't play for a couple of weeks. It's not really that fair when he was trying to do a fair catch.
For the excitement of the viewers at home. Those those punt returns can be super fun to watch. But in terms of safety, I can completely understand why they would go the route of, hey guys, it's because it's kind of like, it's like if you catch it in the end zone, you automatically get it. Like, I guess it's the 25 now, right?
I think so, yeah. So the fair catch will be basically the same thing if you just get a good catch. But of course, there's obviously the possibility the guy could muff the catch and then game on. So they're going to come at him, they just can't touch him.
Talk about exciting television, Rich. That's what I'm all about, dude. That's what
we'll see how it goes. Yeah.
So just get back to our team here. We had, just for the running backs, dude. I mean, we got Ken Walker III coming back, K9. Right. He's leading the running back crew, but we also got DJ Dallas, Zach Charbonnet, and Kenny McIntosh also backing up K9 out there. So again, initial thoughts going in. What do you think this is? What do you think Ken Walker III, K9?
K9.
Get a little ahead of myself. What do you think? What do you think he's going to be able to punch out for that sophomore year, dude?
Oh man, I think the speed's going to get, where they say that the game slows down for them. And a lot of the players in their second and third year, they'll tell you how much the game slows down for them, where they can actually see it quicker. I mean, in more real time of where the players are and whatnot. Whereas when they first get into the league, it's more of a blur to them. So I think it'll slow down for him enough to adapt better and have some better breakout or better runs. I definitely think he had a great season last year, but even though he's going to share the load a little bit, I think Zach Charbonnet is a different type of a runner. He's more of a downhill runner, more of a brutal, you better try to bring me down guy or I'm going to take you down on my way. And he runs like that. So Ken Walker will be the dynamic, the guy that can do a lot of different things. You get him one juke and he's gone. Charbonnet, I understand, just as a north and south guy. Excited about both those guys. And DJ Dallas has always just proven he can be there and be reliable. And then I was really surprised they got Kenny McIntosh because that guy's really dynamic as well. He's, kind of like, I don't know, I watch him play. He's kind of like a Percy Harvin to me, one of these guys that you can throw a screen to out of the backfield and he can just take off, maybe another slot guy that can run dynamic routes and good hands. So, oh man, talk about depth. That group more has depth. And look, we don't want to go into the Super Bowl. Like I said, if we're going to go to the Super Bowl, we have to have depth. If one of those guys goes down and he was our workhorse, we got to have another workhorse right behind him and maybe even two more workhorses behind him because you can't let that circumstance get in your way.
Running back by committee, dude. I'm a big fan of running back by committee, and especially the way the Seahawks run the ball. Yeah. I mean, we run these dudes pretty hard.
And how much we want to run the ball. Coach wants to run the ball more, and he's going to have his way this year.
Well, hell, dude, I was just going to bring up the fact that we actually have a fullback on the roster, which is a Nick Bellore. I can't believe in 2023 we still have a fullback on the roster because how many teams actually utilize the fullbacks these days? I mean, it's kind of like an almost like it's not even a factor anymore.
No, with Nick Bellore is a returning player. He's been with us for 2 or 3 years, but he's more of a special teams captain and more of that's just where they place him. But he plays more at linebacker, I believe. Fills in at linebacker more than he does fullback. So I think that's just their justification of where they can put him on the team. But yeah, Nick Bellore, he's the one that does some of the comedy stuff too, between two Bellores or something. It's like a sketch on somebody else's that does something between two Kevins, I think, which is Kevin Hart. Anyway, Nick Bellore, yes. He don't play fullback much, but he may get in there at times as a fullback. But that's just how they have it classified. It's crazy.
He's
crazy.
More
of a special teams guy.
Well, he's yeah, man. Like I said, dude. I mean, I think that just by seeing him though listed as the fullback, I mean, that just shows the importance of what the running game means to Coach Carroll. I mean that.
You bet.
Again, yeah. So go ahead and just let's just go ahead and round out the line here.
Sorry if I misunderstood what you said about that. Sorry. Apologize.
Oh no, I think you understood it.
Okay.
I don't think there's any confusion. No, I think we got it. We nailed it. I was just reiterating it. That's all it was. So yeah, taking a look at it, we got the offensive line here, dude. You got Charles Cross, Damian Lewis, Evan Brown, Phil Haynes, Abraham Lucas, and also on tight ends, we got Noah Fant and Will Dissly, which is awesome to see Noah Fant and Will Dissly come back as our tight ends because I really feel like they did make a difference last year.
Absolutely, because neither one of them worries. They don't care about blocking as well as catching the ball, and that's what a good tight end needs to do. The two returning tackles, Charles Cross and Abe Lucas, those guys held down the ends. They did really good as rookies. I think they're going to have good sophomore years because, again, the game probably slowed down a little bit for them. They've been in the system for a full year and now a full training camp once again. Got a guy we were talking about early after the draft. I think we brought in a Georgia guard. Remember how we talked about the guards from Georgia, Anthony Bradford, I think is his name. At center, we're still, we're working. We did draft that Olu Watami, and he's looking like he's going to be our starter at some point. But they did bring in that fella from Detroit, I think, Evan Brown. Yeah. And Evan Brown is he listed as a starter still, or is it Olu? It's probably not Olu quite yet. It's probably Evan Brown.
Correct. Evan Brown is listed as the starter. So Olu is listed as his secondary.
Okay. And they say they give Olu a lot of reps with the number one team as well. And obviously the goal is to get him in there when he's ready. He's a rookie. He's new in the building. And they want him to be a part of the rest of that line that's going to be young and grow together. Again, Anthony Bradford, if he can get in there, I'm not sure if he's listed as the starting left guard or not actually left guard, because I think we still have Damian Lewis on the right.
Yeah, we got Damian Lewis, and it actually has Ben Brown as the secondary on there.
Okay, all right. And then we should have Anthony Bradford, and then maybe...
He's listed as the right guard secondary.
Secondary right guard.
Just behind Phil Haynes.
Phil Haynes, there you go. Phil Haynes been in the building for about 3 years at least. So there you go. You've got a lot of potential there, but we've also got some returning talent. So that line is still building. They're not going to be considered a top 5 line quite yet. But, give it a year or two and let these guys gel together and grow together, because they're going to have years of contract together in the building. And that's where things happen. We know that. We've seen it before.
I really like how that we do have a rookie center that we did draft in Olu, and how that they are just going to let him sit behind somebody like an Evan Brown, because if you pull up Evan Brown's information here, I mean, the dude's been in the league for a couple years at this point. He played obviously being drafted, or at least his first year playing with the New York Giants, then going to Miami Dolphins, Cleveland Browns, and he spent the last 3 with the Detroit Lions, which obviously it's a lot of jumping around and whatnot, but he's had 3 straight years with the Detroit Lions, and they were an up and up team, are an up and up team, I should say right now. I mean, there's a lot of fandom going around the Detroit Lions, thinking that they're actually going to pull off and finally shake that funk that is Detroit.
Yeah,
but
they kind of surprised a lot of people last year, didn't they, with their record and whatnot?
I think so. I think that and what's his name? I mean, is it Dan Quinn? Isn't he the head coach for the Detroit Lions?
I know he's been around. I haven't paid attention closely to exactly who's where the head coaches. Those guys like Dan Quinn are kind of on the fringe.
Oh, Dan Campbell. I'm sorry, Dan Campbell.
Okay. Quinn has got to be somewhere still, but I think he might be with San Diego. I think he might be their defensive coordinator.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because he's been kind of moving around from team to team, year to year, until he gets another head coach job.
Gotcha. Well, I'm trying to I thought Dan Campbell, wasn't he didn't he used to be the coach for the Falcons back in the day? Just within the last 10 years?
Quinn was at one point after he left the Seahawks. That's where he went to become a head coach, was Atlanta Falcons, when Dan Quinn left the Seahawks.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so I'm thinking of a different guy, because this guy was the coach of the Dolphins. He worked mainly within the Dolphins head organization. And then New Orleans Saints, he was the assistant head coach and tight ends coach up until 2 years ago. Now he's been.
So you just got Dan on the brain. That's all.
Yeah, dude. I thought that was the dude. It was the dude from that used to be a coach up here in Seattle. But,
well, that's the only Dan I know. If you say Dan,
yeah.
I'll probably say Quinn.
Yeah, that's what I thought, dude. Yeah, it was Dan Campbell, though. Okay, so let's go ahead and get more focused on the Seattle Seahawks. Let's go ahead and jump over the defense, Rich. Again, there was a lot to in terms of our run game. I really feel like that was our weakest point in terms of our defense last year. And do you think we've gotten better through the draft and the offseason? I mean, what do you think going into this coming Sunday?
Through the draft, it's yet to be proven to see what those guys can actually do in real time in the real season. But obvious point is bringing Jaron Reed back. Jaron Reed can stuff the hole a little bit. He can also shed the blocks and get the run. You know what I mean? So he's kind of he's not your big cheddar cheese like we used to talk about with Big Al Woods. He's not that big, but he's he's big, but he's also mobile, so he can. He's universal, a little bit more universal.
What's
I don't know if he's a classic nose tackle though.
Okay.
So I think they're still looking for a classic nose tackle, but we might have brought in somebody. Name some names, I forget. Because I know we were trying to.
I lost my spot. Nose tackle. We have the one behind Jaron Reed would be Cameron Young. He's listed as
he's a rookie
nose tackle, and he is a rookie coming out of Mississippi State. Wasn't he like our big guy? Wasn't he the one that we used for our top 5?
That we were talking about in around the draft time.
Yeah,
I think so. I don't know his size and weight or anything, but he was definitely one of them. And I think
6'3", 304 pounds.
I think he visited the Seahawks as well. I think he's one of the ones that was what we call that.
Oh, my bad. Okay, never mind. It's not him. He was okay. So this dude Cameron Young was drafted by Seattle in the 4th round, 123rd overall last draft.
Oh, I misunderstood. You meant our top draft pick?
Yeah, who was our top draft pick for the?
Oh, he's our cornerback, Devin Witherspoon.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay.
It's been a minute. It's been what? Where are we at? It's been like 5 months since that draft. 4 months.
Yeah, dude. As we always talk about on this podcast, like we are Novius fans, so we're not experts.
We're professional fans. We're not expert podcasters, but we're sure going to give it our best shot. Try to get
exactly, dude. Exactly. It's pretty interesting to see that Bobby Wagner is back. I mean, just like Jaron Reed. I mean, he had a cup of coffee elsewhere, and now he's back.
Yeah, and with both those guys, you got the mentorship that goes along with somebody that's still got. They're not at their prime by all means, but they still got a lot in the tank and still got a proven game, reason to be playing. And that's what's nice about having Bobby. I'd take Bobby back as a coach in a heartbeat, but having a coach / proven player,
right?
Man, come on. And I think he realized he got humbled and went out there and tried to test the market. He went to the Rams, got on their credit card, got rejected off their credit card when their balance, went over. When they overdrafted. So he got back, put it on the market, and maybe he's accepted the type of deal that we wanted to give him, so he could come back home and be happy. He's happy. He's home. This is where his family is. This is where his house is. But yeah, man, invaluable to have him back, dude. The leadership alone. And then I understand it's going to be him and Jordan side by side week 1 as far as the linebackers. We're running that 3-4 scheme, I think. Is that what we do?
Yeah, Jordan Brooks. It's Bobby Wagner and Jordan Brooks, correct.
Right. So rusty-minded I am. I think we switched last year from the 3-4 to the 4-3, right? Where they're running 4 guys up front and 3.
I know we switched.
Like 2 ends. Yeah, I know we switched 2. I just can't get the 2 right. So at least it's not just me.
I'm not even gonna attempt. I don't want to embarrass myself anymore than I have this episode.
We'll get that fixed. I don't want to either because I know we went from one to the other when we got our new D coach, Clint Hurt. So I do know that much. So we'll get that clarified.
There you go, buddy. Yeah. So I'm just kind of looking at the other names. I mean, Kobe Bryant's coming back this year.
He looks good.
Draymond Jones. We got Trey Brown, Tariq Woolen. Oh, it's Reek Woolen. Didn't he shorten his name? Is that what I'm seeing?
He likes to go by Reek now. R-I-Q.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
That's what's up? Gotta throw that one in the vernacular.
Exactly. And then Draymond Jones. He was one of the ones that we went out and traded for and or signed as a free agent. I just know that we spent a decent amount of money and gave him a decent amount of a contract or whatever. So. We got to keep a close eye on him. I hope he's worth what they went after. Again, I don't have numbers in front of me. I just know when you listen to other shows and read the news and the articles and stuff, a lot of people are going, wow, we actually don't usually do that kind of an off-season addition. So we'll see if he's worth what they see. In John and Pete we trust, right?
In John and Pete we trust, dude. It's really interesting though. I mean, like you said, dude, our first round pick, it was the top 5, 5th overall this last draft. Devin Witherspoon, coming in as a rookie, playing right behind, playing right behind Reek Woolen. Pretty exciting, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, he's playing behind initially. Trey Brown. My bad. Again, I'm a little out of it here. We got.
Hey. We got to shake the rust off somehow. That's why it's preseason and also preseason podcast.
Yeah, this is our preseason.
This is our practice. That's right.
We have 1 week to get in shape, Rich. Back in.
That's right. We only needed one. That's why we didn't want to come on here and discuss each preseason game. We don't want to. We just summarize them all and kick this thing off and then head into our season. And then we'll do what we normally did. We'll do our weekly summaries. day or two after, sometimes the day of the game, and go from there. But yeah, you're right. That defensive backs and let's talk about those safeties, man. I mean, Kobe Bryant's listed as a safety now. I think he was listed as a quarterback before. Maybe he's listed as a free safety.
He's listed as a free safety, it looks like.
Yeah, so he's backing up Quandre Diggs officially, but they're going to move him all around, nickel and stuff like that, like they do. Devon Witherspoon, I think, our rookie first-round pick, I think he's maybe a little bit injured, but not enough to, put him on the PUP or the IR.
Ooh.
I don't think.
I was not aware of this, Rich. Breaking news. I
think so. Check it out and see if you can find anything on him. I don't think he's starting out right away, because otherwise I think he would have started out right away if he didn't have some sort of a setback, and not a learning setback.
See here. So I pulled up the injury report on the Seattle Seahawks website, but initially it only gives me the Los Angeles Rams, which Cooper Kupp is listed on the injury report here. So
that's a good thing for us. I like Cooper Kupp. He's good talent, but that's a good thing for us on week one. And I like how you led into this saying we're kind of leaving off carrying on where we left off, because the Rams was the last game of the season there at home. If I remember right, last year. So,
yep, exactly. It's exactly the very last game is starting us off this year against the Los Angeles Rams. And, real quick, just kind of round out before we kind of talk about the schedule and, the games coming up here. I'd like to talk about the special teams. I mean, I think Jason Myers and Michael Dixon both coming back as our kicker and our respective punters. DJ Dallas listed as our punt receiver and kick receiver. Man, I mean, it seems like our special teams is always pretty good, Rich. And I don't think we're going to see a regression going into the season.
I don't think so, and I think that's because our team understands the importance. And I'm not saying any other team doesn't, but our team really stresses the importance of the special teams, how important they are to the game. There's 3 levels to the game, or the 3 phases. It's the special teams, the defense, and the offense, and they're always equally important to each other. If you're not having good kicks and pinning guys back, or good punts and pinning guys back, or a guy that can come in clutch situations like Jason Myers, Michael Dixon, and DJ Dallas when he does these returns, all returning guys and all guys that have been here for at least 3 or 4 years each. That's the type of the people that we need that know our system well enough to help contribute and lead us into the playoffs and into the Super Bowl here soon.
Well, it's pretty cool, Jason Myers, man. I mean, that guy's amazing, dude. I mean, he hit that 60-yarder in a preseason game. I mean, dude's money right now.
Yeah, and Michael Dixon has probably got to be one of the top 3 punters in the league. I mean, he's number 1 to me, because the way he punts and how many yards he gets per punt, he's usually right up there. And I think he makes the Pro Bowl a lot, so to keep him around and for him to, stay around at a reasonable price, same with Myers, I think that's awesome. I think they just want to win. They see the writing on the wall as well. Some of these other outside players that they bring in, they say the same thing. It's just like there's a different attitude and a different vibe when you come into Seahawks and be in that building, in that practice facility. So.
Well, Pete Carroll, he makes such a wonderful environment for these guys to come play, man. I mean, his mentality when it comes to playing NFL football, dude, and I mean any sort of football. I mean, I guess he did the same thing in college. I mean, just what he does, is completely different from your normal NFL or football coaches, I should say. So, obviously, the proof is in the pudding, Rich Harris. And with that being said, I think let's just go ahead and kind of get ready to end the podcast here. But before we go, I want to talk about Week 1, Los Angeles Rams, this Sunday, September 10th, 1:25 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. As we kick off the season, I mean, what are your initial thoughts going into this game, Rich?
I think we're better than the Rams this year, and we better come out with a win at home on that one. Cooper Kupp's down. It makes them one-dimensional, so we can more focus on the run. I don't think they really have any upstanding receivers near the caliber of Cooper Kupp on their team where they could rip us apart with the passing game. So that gives us a chance to be more focused on a one-dimensional offense. But yeah, we got to come out of there with a win. We got to start off with a win in the NFC West. We got to show that we're going to dominate the NFC West this year. As I always say, we always agree, that's the path to the playoffs. That's the path we want to take. We want to have that NFC West, and we want to have that first round bye and the home field advantage. a lot gets done when you have that opportunity.
Exactly. I think going into the NFC West this year, I really do think that we do have a chance to really prove that, the Seattle Seahawks are here to win.
We're back.
We're here to contend for an NFC championship and a Super Bowl championship. We want it all, baby.
That's right.
That's right. Well, I guess those are my final thoughts here on the podcast. Again, I'm just really excited for football, Rich. It's we've gone way too long in between podcasts. Again, hopefully we can extend this podcast run all the way into February and celebrate a Seattle Seahawks Super Bowl victory. That's for sure. That's what I'm hoping for.
I'd say, it may not be this year, but it very well could be. You never know. But I think within the next 2 to 4 years, I think we're going to go back based on what I'm seeing and the way we're building and the success on the draft picks, etc. It's very promising looking, very exciting. So one more thing from me. I think we started a tradition last year where you and I will make our predictions of what our record will be at the end of the year. So now we have 17 games, obviously, since a few years ago. What do you think we're going to come out with? I already know what I'm going to say.
Okay.
I'll say mine then while you...
Okay, go for it. You go.
Okay.
Okay, let me think here. So
last year we both predicted 9 and 8 last year, just as a reminder.
Okay. That makes sense. So I'm thinking, like, realistically looking at the game schedule here, I mean it kind of sucks because it does seem that we do go on the road a lot. It's kind of like home game, road game, home game, road game, two road games, especially coming out of our bye week being week 5, and then we're immediately on the road against the Cincinnati Bengals after having a road game against the New York Giants. So that's not really fair, the NFL, I think, schedule wise. But taking a look at the teams, I mean, we're playing the AFC South this year, along with the NFC North. Or I'm sorry, not the AFC South, the AFC North and NFC North. I'm sorry, I totally botched that. But then you sprinkle in some of the NFC South. You got a game against the Washington Commanders, and I'm fucking it up.
No, you're right.
Let's go ahead and NFC East. NFC East. The command. That's the NFC East. It's not the South. The South's like Tampa Bay, fucking New Orleans.
Why do you think I don't try to keep track of that shit? Because I'll be doing just like you're doing. NFC. Well, who plays us this year? Is it the NFC South or the? I don't fucking know. I know what teams we're playing. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
the road doesn't matter much anymore. Coach Carroll, ever since he came in, he cleaned up all that road. Demons that we used to have or carry, those jinxes that we had to go.
That's true. That's a really good point.
Better on the road sometimes than we have been. I'm not going to say at home, but some years we've actually had a better record on the road. So.
That's a very good point. But yeah, based on all this, man, I think we're definitely we have the chance to. I mean, if we won 9 out of 8 last year, I mean, I think we could maybe improve to at least 10 or 11 wins, right? Like that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I was going to be humble about it and understand that exactly that. We should win at least as many as we did last year, which was more than most would have thought. But we know our team. So, yeah, I was predicting 10 and 7 for this year, just to go up one more, not be too arrogant about it. So one more win I think we'll get this year. I think we'll end this 10 and 7.
Just for fun, I'll throw mine 11 and 6 then. Just so we're going a little different. 11 and 6 then.
Well, that way one of us wins somehow, and hopefully the Seahawks will win right along with that person. So. And
with that said, the listeners out there, they'll win also because hey, we're in it. We're in it for a ride this season. I'm really excited. Like I said, go Seahawks. Rich.
That's right. That's about all I got, buddy.
Yeah, sounds good, man. Again, this is something I'm really happy that we're back with. I miss this podcast. I miss podcasting in general, just on a personal note. I'm ready for this coming Sunday against the Los Angeles Rams. Hopefully, next week we are coming off a nice home win, but if not, we'll talk about that. So, I guess
we'll have plenty to talk about either way.
I guess until next time, I'm Kevin Porter for Rich Harris. See you guys later.
All right.
Can you win a game in the first quarter? No! Can you win the game in the second quarter? No! Can you win the game in the third quarter? No! Can you win the game in the fourth quarter?